Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where I'm going to be giving you my reaction and review to EVERSICK by ScenarioArt. And as always, if you want to see the reaction, I've just done that. Pause this video, which is the review, click the little link in the description below if you want to watch the reaction segment first, and that's where you can go to hear the song if you haven't heard it before, or just, see me react to it. Do you need to see that? Or do you want the review? Because here comes the review. Pause this if you need the reaction first. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so this one is a song that I must admit, I didn't know what I was going to get as a follow-up to the first song I'd heard by them. I really liked the first song I heard by them much more than I expected. Not normally a sound that gives me, these bands who do these sort of, almost like, I know there's all kinds of names floated for this, but I don't think there's a proper genre name for this. It's kind of jazzy pop rock, basically. A lot of them don't seem to have like some really good musicianship, but don't get much real wow in the final product, in my opinion. They just don't seem to quite connect. These guys really do, and I must admit I'm quite impressed having heard this song again. Whether I like it more than the first one, I don't know if I'll go that far, but certainly I find this really, again, enjoyable and engaging. One of the things that works so well for this is the fact that it doesn't very loud cars outside. One of the things that makes this work so well is the fact that it doesn't retread ground in some ways, and yet in other ways it does retread ground. A lot of time is spent doing repeating the verse, and the verse is a really interesting part of the song. As I mentioned during the reaction, what kind of works with that is partly the really nice melody, but also the fact that then you've got very different rhythms layered underneath. The guitar's doing something very kinetic where it's basically just strumming very fast, but in a really interesting sort of jangly way. That's really loud outside. I don't know what's going on out there. Apologies. But it's got that sort of quality. You've got the piano doing a very sort of stop-start sort of style playing. And then you've got the drum doing, again, very fast and kinetic, but very trippy sort of beat. Everything's slightly off beat. So it is something where I must admit I found the verses really engaging, but it does kind of repeat that a fair amount. So maybe there's more to the lyrics that would make that even more engaging that I wasn't able to pick up on. Are you kidding me? I'm going to have to go outside and check that out in a minute. And this is the problem with being right next to a window that faces onto the road. So anyway, yes, I will finish this review, I swear. The chorus itself doesn't come around until about 2 minutes through the 4-minute song, so basically halfway through the song, and then right at the end of the last 20 seconds. And it's a really good chorus as well. Quite catchy, actually. Quite brave when you've got a catchy chorus in a 4-minute song to only do it twice. And I think that shows real confidence in their songwriting and what they're doing. To me, it just kind of... It was a song where you had a very engaging verse and a very sort of catchy and big chorus that really hits every time it comes in. That's fantastic. But what gives this song identity is the weird little way it has those breaks. The first break, of course, being after the first verse, where it goes a little bit dubstep. I must admit, that moment, kind of in a way it worked because it was such an interesting turn, but also very much, musically it worked. I just felt that at that point, maybe the thing that fell apart is they didn't quite have the production chops to pull it off. So the band seemed to have done everything right. But if you're going to have a break like that, again, I don't want to overly tie it to what it sounds like I say, being dubstep. But if you're going to do something with that kind of sound of like, it's supposed to be like all the synths are kind of like everything's overloading and everything's going out of control, that kind of sound, you need to do it with a little bit more oomph, and the production felt a little bit thin at that point. The mixing didn't really punch with much force, and they could have done that, because if anything, what made that work was that it was, like I say, musically on paper very much in keeping with everything before, but it was a production, a change of the sound of the song. And so as a result, when it came out of that and back into the verse, it kind of felt like it went back into the verse with a bit of a whimper. Like that particular break, it could have worked really well, but it didn't feel entirely committed to. So that first break, I got to admit, when I heard that, I felt was a little bit disappointing. It was a bit of an experimentation that I think could have been used a little bit better. And like I say, the changes that would have been needed would have been very small things, just like things with the mix, things with EQ, things with the production, just to oomph it up a little bit more. But then as the song went on, it had some other little breaks where it went in a really interesting direction, where it added that sort of weird sort of pizzicato synth sounding thing at one point. The bit where it breaks down at the end and towards the end does that nice gentle piano line with the vocal. That was really nicely done. There was some really good breaks in this. And ultimately, like I say, even though that first break felt a little bit lackluster, I do think that just the sheer writing and imagination to do that in a song like this, to go for that. It's also kind of fun because what I like about that is this is the sort of song where if you listen to the first 20-30 seconds, it's something that really appeals to the sort of musos who would, in my experience, luckily we have sort of good open-minded people on this channel a lot of the time, probably because we do so many different styles of music, but there's a lot of sort of musos who would be really impressed with the first 20 or 30 seconds of the song, who would be the exact same people who would be absolutely against anything even slightly reminiscent of dubstep or EDM. So I like the fact that it shows a lot of the strength of their character, and this is a very Japanese thing when it comes to music. That open-mindedness to music is very quintessentially Japanese, in my opinion, and I just love the fact that they just dived into that. So even if, like I said, didn't have the impact I wanted, I just love the fact that they did these breaks. Love the fact that they were always being creative. They never went, oh, we've done a verse and a chorus, so what comes next? Verse and a chorus, play a little instrumental, another chorus, and we're finished. No, they were thinking all the way through, okay, where is the listener in this part of the song? Where's their mood? What can we do to sort of now take them in a different direction, but at the same time not throw them off the train completely? I just think that this showed a lot of love, attention, and artistry, and I don't just mean artistry in the fantastic musicianship, but I also mean in the writing. It could have come across a little bit better, yes. I think if maybe they committed a little bit harder to some of those breaks, if maybe the verse had changed up a little bit by the time it was coming around the third or fourth time, there are some little touches they maybe could have done to make it work better, but I don't think, to be honest, I think when you look at a song that's so lovingly created as this, I don't think it's through lack of effort. I think maybe just difference of opinion. And talking of difference of opinion, that's exactly what I want to hear next, is what you guys think in the comments. But I would say personally that I really enjoyed this, and I would definitely listen to it again. I don't think it's quite on par with the first song I heard by them. Apologies, I never remember song names. But I think it certainly does forge the impression that this is a really good, interesting band. So I will be listening to more of ScenarioArt, certainly based on this. So I've got a lot to look forward to. And great stuff. Also, like I say though, did just want to point out, because they've got guitar, bass and drummer in the video, but obviously you've got the synth being played in the breakdown, and you've got the piano. Do they actually have a keyboard player or keyboardist, or is it one of them who does both in the studio but only one of the instruments live? That'd be really interesting to know what you guys think, or maybe alternates instruments live. Anyway, interested to know what you guys know, and also interested to know what you guys think. Definitely get in the comments and tell me. Try and justify your opinions, because this is all about the discussion. No one is right or wrong about music. It's all opinions. I just talk as someone who's worked with music my entire adult life. However, I really want to know what you guys think, and I'll try to reply to as many of the comments as I can. It gets a bit hard these days with it being so busy, but I will try to jump in there and give some thoughts back as well. However, like I say, do feel free to do all the usual YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, follow any of our social medias linked in the description below, and a big thank you as well to those who've already followed our Patreon. It's really appreciated. It does keep this whole operation afloat, honestly. And thank you for making it through to the end of this video. So until I hopefully see you in Japan soon for the next one, for now, ciao ciao.